Hi, amazing students. I am Biswajit, your zoology educator. So, in this class, we are going to complete this chapter, the living world. The living world in one shot. So, let's start it. So, do you know who is him? The father of taxonomy, Carl von Linné. Carl von Linné. Later on, he changed his name, his trinomial name, into binomial name, Carolus Linnaeus, as because he was the pioneer scientist who told us how to go for binomial nomenclature. Today we tell that we are human being, means our scientific name is Homo sapiens. If we talk about tiger, scientific name of tiger is Panthera tigris. So these are called biological names or scientific names. And just think that the total world, if you consider the world, is highly diversified. Highly diversified. There are near about, we are estimating that we know near about 1.7 to 1.8 million different species of plants and animals are there which are known to us, and there are more than this numbers are there who are still hiding themselves from us. We are yet to discover. Scientists are assuming maybe in this earth, the earth is like our own mother planet, right? So many things there are, we need to discover, we need to invent, we need to know about, right? So they're assuming maybe there are 10 millions different species of organisms are there. So it's all about biological diversity. It's all about taxonomy. It's all about systematics. So in this chapter, we are going to study why do you need to study classification? Why do we need to study evolution? Why do we need to study taxonomy? What is the difference between taxonomy and systematics? Okay. So this unit in our NCERT, they had started with one eminent scientist, Ernst Mayr. So let's know something about this scientist Ernst Mayr. Let's know about Mayr uncle. Okay, so before knowing about Mayr uncle, Ernst Mayr, this beautiful lines of NCERT. The beauty of galloping horse, of the migrating birds, the beauty of migrating birds. Have you ever seen that birds are migrating, making a V pattern? Birds are migrating, making a V pattern. It's a really very beautiful sight, right? The valley of flowers or the attacking sharks. When you see in National Geographic or Discovery or Animal Planet, shark, a mighty, great white shark is attacking. Or you might have seen that movie, The Jaws. Okay, so all these either beautiful scenic beauties, either these scenic beauties or these fearsome phenomena will evoke awe or a deep sense of wonder into us. Either this diversity will evoke awe's curiosity or deep sense of wonder. How come this 1.8 million or more than that species are prevailing into our mother planet, into our earth? Okay, so basically we need to study classification because we need to track down the story of evolution, and this is biology. We are very much curious. We are the supreme organism, and we'll try to know what is life, how life evolved into the earth, how life came into the earth, and how life flourished its pathway. Okay. So here is our Darwin of 20th century, our Ernst Mayr uncle. Darwin of 20th century, our Ernst Mayr uncle. So see, he's a German evolutionary biologist who studied, who worked in Harvard University. Okay, he is one of the scientists whom we regard as 100 greatest scientists of all time. And there is one more relationship with 100 in his life. I call it 100 100. I call it 100 100. If we see his birth year and death year, it's also his lifespan was of 100 great years, 1904 to 204. Okay, he was a professor of zoology. He was a professor of zoology. Now, he was awarded the Triple Crown of Biology, the highest three prestigious prizes. Who are they? Baljan Prize, International Prize of Biology, and Crawford Prize. Now, if you also get this prize, we will say that you got the Triple Crown of Biology, and our this my uncle, the Darwin of 20th century, he got all these three prizes. And one more thing, he is renowned. He had given the biological concept of species. He had given biological concept of species. Now we'll talk about this. What is that actually? So for that, we need to know what species is, and a very shortcut form. Species, you can say this is the like hierarchy wise in taxonomy. This is the like lowest. This is the rank. This is the category which is having the lowest rank. Okay. Now who are called species? One human being will look similar to other human being. So species are morphologically similar, physiologically similar, we are the closest, each human to other human, we are the closest relative to each other, closest relative to each other. And one more thing which is very much important, which was told by Ernst Mayr, that is a species, a male and female of a single species, if they will breed naturally, they will do naturally inbreeding. They will naturally inbreed between them. Naturally inbreeding will be there in between them, and after breeding, they will produce offspring, and that offspring should be fertile. Then only you can call this population, you can call this similar looking group of organism as species. Okay, now what is this? What do you think? See, few characteristics which are like tiger, this black and yellow and white strip, and this males of lion. So this is neither a tiger nor a lion. This is liger. This is a liger. That means it's a crossbreed between two species. It's a crossbreed between lion and tiger. So tiger is another species, lion is another species. They will not go for natural inbreeding. If you keep a male tiger and a female lion, or a male lion and female tiger, naturally they won't breed with each other. They will not do copulation with each other. And artificially, okay, in test tube, in artificial condition, in vitro condition, if you fertilize their egg of tiger and sperm of lion, then you will get this product, this hybrid liger, and they are sterile. They are generally sterile. They are generally they are sterile. They cannot produce their new progeny, new offspring. But yes, science is developing, and a few scientists are saying that even these ligers or tigons, they can produce litigon, something like that. Okay, so this is none of this is our matter of interest. So according to Mayr, this is the concept of species. What is this? This is mule. A crossbreed of horse and donkey. They both are different species. Horse is another species, donkey is another species, but eventually if in vitro fertilization, artificial fertilization will be there, it will produce mule which is unable to produce new offspring, that this is also infertile or sterile. So I think species concept is done. Okay, now let me back to the previous slide. This is how beautifully you can observe how the world is diversified. Somewhere it's desert, somewhere it's tropical rainforest. This is jaguar. Somewhere it's deciduous forest. Somewhere it's frigid zone. Somewhere it's hot spring. This is hot spring. This is another bird token of tropical rainforest under the sea. It's really amazing, right? Okay. So you were talking about Ernst Mayr. Now there are some other scientists also. Like in this chapter, we'll study about Carolus Linnaeus. Why is famous? He's called as father of taxonomy because he had written many important books regarding classification and systematics. The most famous book was Systema Naturae. Then he had written Species Plantarum, where in this Species Plantarum only he had told about the binomial nomenclature. He had written another book, Philosophica Botanica. Then he was the person to give the binomial nomenclature, as I said, which he has written into this book, Species Plantarum. In the book Species Plantarum, he wrote about binomial nomenclature, and he is the person behind two kingdom classification. He divided the groups of living organisms in animals or animalia and plants or plantae. Okay, now there are these two scientists, Bentham and Hooker. You might have heard about them. Bentham and Hooker, they had given the natural system of classification. They are one of the pioneers who given natural system of classification. If we talk about the classification of Aristotle, classification of Linnaeus, Aristotle, classification of Theophrastus, classification of Ernst Haeckel, their classification models were artificial system of classification. Okay, what is natural, what is artificial? When a scientist is classifying living world on the basis of very few characteristics feature. For example, if we talk about Aristotle classified animals based upon their color of blood into anima and enema, right? Anima means animals with colorless blood, and enema animals with red colored blood. So only based upon a single criteria or any other morphological criterion, you cannot divide the living groups of organism into some distinctive categories, into distinctive systems, right? That's why those were failed in further the classification of Aristotle, classification of Linnaeus, that you will study into next chapter. 2 kingdom classification, 3 kingdom classification, 4 kingdom classification by Copeland, and ultimately we got on 5 kingdom classification, which is somehow better than every other classification which was given by either Linnaeus or Ernst Haeckel or Copeland. Okay, then Engler and Pruntel, you need to know their name also. They are the person behind who vividly detailed about phylogenetic classification, though Whitaker's 5 kingdom classification was also kind of phylogenetic. Whitaker told us that Monera were the first group of organisms to arrive on the earth. Then from Monera, it evolved into protistans. Few protistans who were photosynthetic, they given rise plants. Few protistans who were performing holozoic mode of nutrition, they given rise animals. Few protistans from slime molds kind of protistans, those who used to take the nutrients from dead and decaying organic materials, they given rise fungi. Okay, but phylogenetic means a tree which is telling us a roadmap which is telling us who arrived earlier, who arrived later on, and from who are the ancestors. There are 1.8 million of different known plants and animals are there. Okay, 1.2 to 1.3 are animals and 0.6 millions are plants. Now, who are the ancestor of these organisms? Okay, like Whitaker told us, first Monera, then Protista. So this is a phylogeny. Okay, tracking down the roadmap of the evolution. So it was detailed by Engler and Pruntle. Then there is another eminent scientist, Julian Huxley. He is regarded as father of neo-systematics. What is systematics? We will know taxonomy, where mainly we will talk about identification, nomenclature and classification. And when you punch phylogeny, with identification, classification and nomenclature, then it will form a broad aspect of taxonomical things, that is systematics. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. So here the chapter starts with, so from here only the chapter really starts with the question, what is living being, and how we can differentiate living being from non-living one. In NCERT they have spoken about 5 characteristics feature. Okay, and we will be detailing upon based upon these 5 characteristics feature: growth, reproduction, metabolism, consciousness, and cell and cellular organization, and different division of level related to cell. So we will be studying these 5 criteria or 5 criterions, and we will try to justify which is defining one, which is non-defining one. Now, what is defining characteristics feature of life? If you got one criterion and that particular criteria is present every living form of life without any exception, then that criterion should be considered as defining feature. That criterion should be considered as defining feature. Okay, so who are students? Those who are studying. So studying is a criterion for every student. Without any exception, every students are studying. Every students are going to school. Every students are going to college. So we are calling them, they are students. Okay, they are preparing for examination and they are writing examination. These are some common criterions present in between all the students. Okay, now some students may play cricket, some students may play hockey, some students may play basketball. So these characteristics which are not common in all the students, right? But they are studying. This is the defining feature of all the students. Similarly, when you talk about growth, now growth is written as twin character. Twin means 2, double. Growth, we understand what is growth. When a particular entity is growing in mass, and secondly, when a particular entity is growing in number of cells. Okay, so whatever we suppose I am 30 years old, and within this 30 years, I don't know, I have eaten million tons of food. Okay, now those million tons of food are, where they gone? My body weight is only maybe 72 to 74 kilogram. Then I have eaten this million tons of food. They have provided me energy. Few of them help me to increase my body mass, and few of that food, whatever I have eaten, those nutrients help me for the cell division. So growing in mass, growing in the number of cells. That's why growth is a twin characteristics feature. Now we'll study how growth is happening in different group of organisms, in different groups of organisms. Now when you see growth in plants, if you see a plant, after germination of seed, it will keep growing. It will keep growing. There will be growth of branches, growth of leaves. Okay, until unless it dies. So for plant, growth is kind of infinite till the death. So the growth will be there throughout the life. Okay. Now why it's possible? Because plant cells or plant tissues, specifically the meristematic tissue, are like eligible to produce full plant at any time of their life. Okay. There is no point of their life where growth will be halted, growth will be stunted, right? So that criterion is called the totipotency, total potency. A cell is having the total criterions, total capacity to produce. A cell can produce a full plant body by cell division. So that is called totipotency. But we animals, after a certain level of our development, we lost totipotency. Maybe in my bodies there are some cells who are multipotent, few some cells who are monopotent, but totipotent cells are the cells of my initial life form, the zygote, the blastocyst, like few cells, few initial, my first 16 cells of my beginning of the life. Okay, next, what about animals? For animals it's not like plant. For animals the growth will be halted after a certain age. After a certain age the growth will be halted, though in some animals the growth, they will be keep growing, like few snakes are there, like some boas are there, some pythons are there. Okay, so it's up to a certain age for plants. Now what about unicellular? Now it's very special. For unicellular, the growth and the reproduction and the cell division, we call it mutually inclusive. Mutually inclusive. But for multicellular, for us, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive. Growth is different, reproduction is different. Okay, up to 12 or 13 years of age, a child will grow faster. And after that, after adolescence, a child will move into the next phase of the life. He will be sexually maturing. Sexual maturation of the reproductive organs will be there. That is called adolescence period. After adolescence period, he or she will be fully mature, fully capable to produce sperm and ovum. That is called reproductive phase of the life. So for us, reproduction and growth is quite different. But for one amoeba, growth and reproduction are similar only. For one amoeba, growth and reproduction is similar. Like if you are talking about binary fission. Okay, so one mother amoeba will produce two daughter amoebules. One mother amoeba will produce two daughter amoebas or two daughter amoebules. So these daughter amoebules are nothing. They are the exerted nucleus. Nucleus has gone through division. One nucleus formed two nucleus. One cell formed two cells. So technically unicellular organisms are immortal. So these things you need to remember. For multicellular organism, growth and reproduction is mutually exclusive phenomena. For us, growth is different, our reproduction is different. But for unicellular organism, growth, cell division and reproduction is mutually inclusive phenomena. These three different phenomena are not actually different, they are similar. They are same, not similar, they are same phenomena only. Okay, that's why mutually inclusive. Okay, like for a better example, I would like to say that suppose you are a student, your goal is to crack NEET, but sometime you play basketball, sometime you play cricket. Now playing cricket is a different thing in your life and studying for NEET is a two different phenomena. So these two are mutually exclusive. Playing is also important for you, and studying is also important for you. That those two are different phenomena, mutually exclusive phenomena, these two are. But you have one friend, all day for his career and for his enjoyment is playing basketball. So his career is also basketball, his enjoyment is also basketball. Okay, so for him this is mutually inclusive phenomena. For you, for enjoyment you are playing basketball, for career you are studying for NEET. So those two are different phenomena, mutually exclusive, right? But why they are saying that this growth is a non-defining criterion of life? Why growth is non-defining criterion of life? You can see growth in Himalayas as a mountain range, right? So due to the moving plates of our earth, every year there will be some increase in the height of the Himalaya or Mount Everest. Everywhere the height of Mount Everest is increasing due to the deposition of snow, due to the deposition of other things. So even sand dunes. If you go to visit Thar Desert or Sahara Desert, you will find sand dunes. The sand dunes also can increase in the volume when there will be deposition of sand. Now, if you see the hive of ant, hive of termite, hive of honeybee, the volume, the shape of the hives will increase day by day, as because they are depositing some non-living material. So growth can be seen, external growth can be seen in non-living material. So we can consider that growth is there in living thing, which is internal, though still growth is present into non-living being, external growth. So growth cannot be considered as defining feature, because growth is present in non-living being also. Next, and growth also is varying in different phases of life of different organisms. Now next come to reproduction. Okay, what is reproduction? Production of own kind. Human being will reproduce to produce human being, donkeys will reproduce to donkeys, monkeys will reproduce to into new monkeys. Okay, so production of own kind. Now, what is the motto of reproduction? First motto of reproduction is continuity of our own species. Second motto of reproduction, variation. If there is specifically, there are two types of reproduction, asexual and sexual. For asexual reproduction, the offsprings are literally identical to their parent. Okay, but for sexual reproduction, there will be reshuffling of genetic materials when sperms and ovum are fusing with each other. Due to that reshuffling, there will be some new criterions which is present into the offspring, and that will lead to variation, and ultimately variation will lead to evolution. And the biology, the systematics, the classification we are studying to track down the story of life, that is evolution, how life has evolved. Okay, so these two are the very important thing about reproduction. Okay, now in between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, it's written there sexual reproduction is advanced one, asexual reproduction is primitive one. Means first nature had introduced asexual reproduction, then nature had introduced sexual reproduction. Okay, that's why sexual reproduction is advanced one. Why sexual reproduction is advanced than asexual reproduction? See, in the beginning, few vagabond, few solitary life forms were roaming here and there into ocean. Okay, now once upon a time, their food resource or their survivability resource got decreased, so they were dying. Now their primary motive was to survive. While they were doing reproduction through asexual mode, because there is no variation, no sharing of resource with each other, they were dying. Those identical offsprings were dying. So nature thought, why not keep two organisms together, two cells of organisms, two motile cells of organisms together. Basically it happened with algae. Okay, two motile cells of two organisms together and let them fuse with each other so that they can share their resources, they can share their genetic material. So ultimately that was the time, that was the point when nature had given rise one superior mode of reproduction, sexual mode. Okay, and that will lead to variation. In asexual mode, there can be very rare variation if there is something faulty DNA replication. Okay, but again reproduction is a non-defining feature, because all the phase of your life you are not reproducing, first thing. Okay, and next thing, there are certain couples who are unable to produce their child. Okay, those who are infertile, okay, and there are certain organisms are there, like if you talk about mule, if you talk about liger, if you talk about worker bees in honeybee colony. If you see, there are three castes are there: queen bee, which is fertile female; worker bees, which are infertile female; and thirdly drones. those who are fertile males. Okay, so these worker bees, they're female but unable to produce new progeny. What is the reason? There is a biological reason is there. During the time of development, they don't get proper nourishment. That's why their ovary won't be getting mature. Okay. So, as because for all the living organisms, reproduction is not applicable. There are certain sterile living organisms, infertile living organism. So, reproduction is also a non-defining feature of life. Then metabolism. What is metabolism? Sum of all the chemical reaction in our body, in our cells. There will be some extracellular reaction. There will be some intracellular reaction. But chemical reactions will be always there to perform the life processes, to perform all the life processes, either it's digestion or it's respiration or it's excretion, everything. Okay. Now metabolism is of two types, anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism always constructive, catabolism always destructive. Anabolism will produce something complex, catabolism will break down the complex substance to produce something simple. Just remember with a trick in Hindi. I'm telling it in Hindi. आना मतलब मेरे पास कुछ मान लो कि पैसा आ गया, so it will increase my pocket, the weight of my pocket, right? कुछ आ रहा है, हाँ मतलब मेरे साथ कुछ अच्छा हो रहा है, कंस्ट्रक्टिव हो रहा है. कुछ जा रहा है, अरे मेरा तो कट गया यार, अरे मेरा तो कट गया यार, मतलब मेरे साथ कुछ गलत हुआ है, कुछ डिस्ट्रक्टिव हुआ है. सो ये एक वे है, ये एक स्ट्रेटेजी है, तुम याद कर सकते हो कि एनाबोलिज्म क्या है, कैटाबोलिज्म क्या है. आना एनाबोलिज्म, कटना कैटाबोलिज्म. ओके, नाउ whatever the reactions are going inside our cells, few of the reactions can be performed ex vivo or in vitro. The reactions inside our body, inside our cells are called in vivo reaction. In vivo reaction. अरे in vivo doesn't mean कि vivo मोबाइल के अंदर हो रहा है. In vivo means inside our cells. Okay. In vitro, when you are mimicking that phenomena outside our body, inside a test tube. Okay. एक टेस्ट ट्यूब चुरा लिए है, केमिस्ट्री वाले जाओ, केमिस्ट्री वाले प्रोफेसर से, केमिस्ट्री वाले टीचर से, और टेस्ट ट्यूब के अंदर तुम जैसे कि आरबीसी के अंदर एक केमिकल रिएक्शन होता है. देयर विल बी कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड वाटर inside our RBC, and it will form carbonic acid. So same reaction can be, you can like perform into this test tube. So it's called in vitro reaction, but this reaction is not living reaction. This is non-living reaction. This reaction is a kind of living reaction which is performed inside the living organism, but here in non-living environment also you are performing this. Okay, but all the chemical reactions together cannot be performed into a non-living system, but mandatorily these chemical reactions are happening inside our body. Here you are watching my video, here I am talking, here I am teaching. For each and every living organism, these chemical reactions are going on. So it's a defining feature of life form. Next, consciousness. I am telling something and you are able to hear me. That means your body is having some capacity to receive the sound waves and to think accordingly and to respond accordingly. Okay, so the receiving means receiving stimulus. Your body get excited when we get sense, receiving the senses and react accordingly. That is called responses. Okay. Now, as because all the living organism, including bacteria, including prokaryotes, including all the eukaryotes, is possessing this capacity. So this is a defining feature. Consciousness is the defining feature. Consciousness is the defining feature, and not only defining feature according to NCERT. This is the most obvious and technically complicated, most obvious and technically complicated feature. Okay, the most fascinating feature out of all these five. Okay, now the sense. What is sense actually? The sense can be temperature, the sense can be any sound, the sense can be any pressure, the sense can be any chemical. So those are called stimuli. Any changes outside the environment or inside the environment of our body. Even you are feeling hungry, that is also a sense of feeling. Then you will start eating. That is the reaction. That is the response. The stimulus can be biological stimuli. Ant is stinging you. Ant is biting you. Honeybee is stinging you. Biological stimulus. Chemical stimuli. If some hydrochloric acid fall down on your hand, then it will start corroding your upper layer of skin. That is again chemical stimulus. Okay. Or sperms are moving to the ovum with following chemotropic movement. Right. That is also response against chemical stimulus. And physiological stimulus, sound, physiological stimulus, heat energy, yes, physiological stimulus. So these can be the stimulus. This is different kind of stimuli: biological stimuli, chemical stimuli, physical stimuli. But we are human being, right? We are human being, and we have a very special criterion. We have a very special criterion. We are human being. We have a very special criterion: self-consciousness. Self-consciousness. Consciousness means awareness. Self-consciousness, when we are aware about ourselves, we can solve problem. We can draw a diagram. This is because of self-consciousness. Sometimes we feel sad. Sometimes we will feel angry. If I say you in the class, if you are not doing homework, and if I say you, hey idiot, what you are doing, you will feel angry, you will feel sad. Sad told me idiot, or how can sad tell me idiot? But if you call a donkey, and a real donkey, not human being, if you call a real donkey and tell him, hey idiot, then donkey will say dhachu dhachu. He will not get angry, he will not get happier, he will not get sad. Okay, so that is the difference between human being and other animals, other organisms. So self-consciousness is exclusively you can find into human being also only. So self-consciousness is again a non-defining feature. Non-defining feature. But consciousness is a defining feature of life. Okay. But there is a condition called coma or brain dead. Coma condition or brain dead condition. Generally, when we die, first our brain will stop working. Then after within 24 hours, other organs of our body will stop working. So what we will tell? Coma. A living state, non-living state, or in between that. Now lastly, it comes with cell. Cell is also a defining feature. We all know that cell is also a defining feature because each and every cell is the basic fundamental structural and functional unit of life. Okay, you already know a lot about cell, cellular organization, tissue organization, tissue organ level of organization, organ system level of organization. The very basic thing is cells. Without cell, life forms are not possible. Our cellular organism are viruses. So that is the reason they don't have cell. Is the reason viruses cannot be considered as living being. We consider them as in between living or non living. Now what do you mean by in between? They don't need nutrition. They don't do respiration. Viruses, they are just machine of reproduction. They will attack the host body. They will capture the host like genetic mechanism, and they will produce new viruses. That is why viruses will show some metabolic activities which are similar to living being. Okay, so our cellular viruses are not living, but cell, those who are having cell, definitely you just close your eyes and you tell them that you are living being if somebody is having a single cell too, like bacteria. Now the division of labor means if you see multicellular organism, like first multicellular animal is poriferans. Okay, and the highest one is like the most advanced one is chordates. Like in porifera also you will be finding different cells with different criterion, different function. They are performing different function. Few cells in porifera means sponges. They will intake water. Few cells in porifera, they will catch the food. They will help in the water streaming inside the body surface. So there are different types of cells present into the body of porifera. If we tell about us, we have our neurons, nerve cells. We have our cells which are responsible for detoxifying our body things, like hepatocytes, cells of our liver. Okay, we have our cells, specialized cells which are responsible for pumping the blood, the cardiac muscular cells of our heart. So this is called division of labor. Okay, so living phenomena, basically this line is very much important. Living phenomena are due to the interaction. Okay, those division, due to the division of not only the division of levers, different functioning cells, different functioning tissues, different functioning organs, different functioning organ systems are there. They are interacting with each other. Whatever your heart is doing, already your lung is knowing, your brain is knowing, your kidney is also knowing whatever things are going into your heart, whatever things are going into your blood vessels. So that is called a successful. If there is no interaction, if there is no communication between organs, between cells, okay, between organ systems, then you cannot survive, right? So that is the thing. We know that cell with another cell with similar kind of cell who are connected with intercellular matrix will form tissue. And similar kind of tissue will form organs. Similar kind of organs will form organ system, and similar kind of like different organ systems together will perform as a body. So this organization, division of labor, is everywhere, molecular organization to biological organization. Molecular organization from subatomic particles, electron, protons, neutrons and other particles are also there, right? These subatomic particles will form atoms. Subatomic particles will together form atoms, and atoms will form molecules. Molecules as element will interact with each other and they will form compounds. Compounds will interact with each other and will form complex compounds. So similarly, different cell organelles are there inside our cells. With cytoplasm, with plasma membrane, they will form cell. Different cell will form tissue, tissue to organ, organ to organ system to body. Okay, so ultimately we will get a very good definition of life. And what is that? Living organisms are self-replicating. Living organism can produce their own kind. Self-replicating. Our cells are also self-replicating. Evolving, there is evolution from time to time. It was a time only there was some archaea, or there was some archaebacteria, heterotrophic archaebacteria, first living cell. Then from this archaebacteria, now there are near about 1.8, more than 1.8 million types of living organisms are there. How from one group of organism to this millions group of organisms? There is evolution. We are self-regulating. Every living organism can decide what to do, what not to do. Interaction is going on everywhere, inside the cells, inside the body, and capable of responding to the external stimuli. Whenever these features are there, then you can call it as a living organism or life form. Okay, now our next topic we are studying diversity in the living world. Okay, so when we talk about diversity in the living world, we need to talk about two different things. Okay, so one is taxonomy, another is systematics. So systematic is a broader aspect, and taxonomy is a topic, or you can say there are different chapters in a book. Few chapters of that book are there. So taxonomy are the few chapters of that large book, that is systematic. Systematic includes taxonomy. Very precisely, taxonomy plus phylogeny is called systematics. So to know systematics, we need to know taxonomy first. Taxonomy includes characterization. Taxonomy includes characterization, or it's basically will be listing the similar kind of characteristics which are, then identification, nomenclature, and then classification. Characterization, identification, characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification. Basically this characterization and identification, these are done simultaneously. Nomenclature and classification, these two are also done simultaneously. Okay, so don't get confused which is before, which is latter. First you have to start this taxonomical study with characterization and identification, and you have to end it with nomenclature and classification. Now what is characterization? Listing of characteristics feature, listing of criterions. Now identification. Now after listing down all the criterions, tracing the related organisms and finding a proper taxonomical position is called identification. I will discuss it. So basically what is the definition of identification? Tracing the related organism which is already there into our classification schemes and finding the nearer one, that is called identification. And what is nomenclature? Now if you got a totally new organism which no one ever have observed, now you have classified it, sorry, you have identified it. Now you need to give it a proper name, so that after you, whoever will be studying, they will also have a good reference. So giving a unique identity. Nomenclature means naming, giving a unique identity. My name is Biswajit Ghosal, so this is my unique identity. Biswajit is my name and Ghosal is my family name. So for living organism also, uniformly names are given. Okay. Now why naming is necessary? In order to avoid the confusion of local names. For a living species, there will be different local names are there. Like for potato, in English we call it potato, in Hindi we call it aloo, in Marathi we call it batata. So in different language, the potato is getting different local names, vernacular names. No, we need to abolish these vernacular names, at least inside the biological scientific community. Okay, that's why you need to give biological name of scientific name through the nomenclature. Some rules are there, we'll see what are the rules. Now lastly, classification. Now when all the things are done, now based upon all those similarities and dissimilarities, all those studies, giving a permanent biological status or entity. Giving a permanent biological status or entity of an organism is called taxonomy. Okay, so let's discuss in a little bit. Okay, so suppose one fine afternoon you are going back from your school or from your college, you are going back to your home. From your school or college, you are going back to your home, and you got this amazing animal. Okay, we have seen this in Pokemon, in cartoon, but in real life you got a sound pika pika. Huh? So now you are really amazed. You are a taxonomist, you are a biologist. Now how you will do the taxonomy? First, characterization. Remember, first characterization. So based upon the criterion, the morphological characteristics feature, anatomical characteristics feature, you have to study all the aspects. Morphology, you have to study morphology, outer features, you have to study anatomy, means internal organs, you have to study physiology of this particular animal. Okay, you have to study biochemistry, the chemical reactions are going on inside the body. You have to study genetics, and after all the study you will be listing up some criterions. You'll be listing up some criterions. Okay. So characterization is done. Characterization is done. Second thing is identification. Now you'll be comparing with different animals. Now you will be comparing with this with rabbit. You will be comparing with this with rat. You will be comparing with this mouse. You will be comparing with this with monkey. Okay. Now after comparing with rabbit, rat, mouse and monkey, you got that these criterions whatever you have written down. With rabbit 78% match is there. With rat 92% match is there. With mouse 85% match is there. With monkey 58% match is there. So where is the highest match? With rat highest match is there. So this is called identification. You have now identified this Pikachu. This Pikachu is actually close relative of rats. This is called identification. Now suppose you will give a name. Now suppose if you will give a name. You will give a name. Suppose I am the scientist. I will give this name Ratus Biswajitian. According to my name, I have named this species Ratus Biswajitian. So this is called nomenclature. This is called nomenclature. And after that, we will put them into a particular, perfect classification scheme. Now you have to write. What is the kingdom of this animal? What is the phylum of this animal? What is the class of this animal? What is the order of this animal? What is the family of this animal? What is the genus of this animal? What is the species of this animal? So ultimately it will be kingdom, Animalia, phylum, chordata, class, Mammalia, order, Rodentia, family, Muridae, genus, Ratus, specific epithet, Biswajitian. Okay, so this is the total classification, and you are done with the taxonomic study of this Pikachu. This is the common name and this is the scientific name, Ratus Biswajitian. Done. We are moving to the next thing. So where were we? Yes, we were here. Great. Now systematics. You add evolutionary relationship. Evolutionary relationship. Okay. So again, if I tell into a very simple manner, then it's like you have studied 5 kingdom classification. So first there is Monera, then Protista. Protista evolved from Monera. Now one group of Protista, it will give rise to Plantae. Another group of Protista, it will give rise to fungi, and another group of Protista will give rise to animals or Animalia. Now this tree formation is the phylogenetic tree of living world: Monera, Protista, fungi, Animalia, Plantae. So when Whitaker characterized, identified all the living organisms together and formed different classification. Okay, kept them into different categories, to different taxons: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Animalia. That was only taxonomy. Now, while he placed this according to the origin, Monera first, Plantae, Fungi and Animalia last. So this tree formation, this roadmap formation is about evolutionary relationship. Protista is the junction. Here from this tree we can say that Protista is the junction. From Protista we got Fungi, we got Plantae, we got Animalia. So this is called phylogeny. Okay. Now we are moving to the next. We'll talk about binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature. So, who is the father of binomial nomenclature? Carolus Linnaeus. His name was Carl von Linné. His name was Carl von Linné. After he proposed binomial nomenclature, he changed his name Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus, father of taxonomy. So Carolus Linnaeus has given scientific name to the mango. Mangifera indica Linn. Now with this name we'll justify what is binomial nomenclature is. Mangifera indica Linn. Okay. So first point, biological names are Latin. Whatever name you are giving scientifically or biologically, that name should be either in Latin or that should be Latinized. Okay. And when it's written into printed format, you have to use italics font. What is the italics font? The font which is tilted towards the left. Which is tilted towards the left, like that. But handwriting doesn't have any font. Our handwriting don't have any font. So when handwritten, when we are writing any name, handwritten scientific name is there. Individually, both the words separately. Binomial name is 2 words are there. Both the words are separately or individually you have to underline them. If you are not underlining, and if you are handwriting a scientific name, spelling is perfect, name is perfect, that will be considered as wrong. Okay. Now, binomial. Why 2 words? The first word is the generic name, the genus Mangifera is the genus of mango. And the second word, there should be the specific epithet, that indica, that is the specific epithet, not the species. Mangifera indica is the species. Second word is the specific epithet. Now, genus always start with a capital letter or uppercase letter. Specific epithet name always start with a small letter or lowercase letter. It is the thumb rule. Okay. Now, sometime the author appears after the specific epithet, like Mangifera indica Linn. Now, while you are putting the author name, you can give it a short form or abbreviated form. Linn means Linnaeus, and when you are writing this author name, you don't have to follow any font or you don't have to underline it. Okay. Next, very important thing. Name of 2 different genus. Name of 2 different genus of 2 different origin can never be similar, never be same. Can never be same. This is called homonym. This is called homonym. Now, if you are confusing yourself, Panthera tigris, Panthera leo. Okay, this Panthera is same genus. Tiger and lion belongs to same genus. Panthera, even Panthera pardus. But these are what? These are mammals. These are mammals. Now, if you got an insect, which is like cockroach, In America, you got that cockroach in America. You cannot write, you cannot name that cockroach, the particular genus of that cockroach, as Panthera americana. You cannot name that genus of the cockroach as Panthera americana. Or if you got a new bird, you cannot name that bird any genus of the bird. It should never be Panthera, because Panthera genus is already allotted for the group of these tigers and lions and panthers. Okay, so that is called homonym. If there is any homonym, the regulatory body will discard it. Who are the regulatory body? There are two regulatory bodies are there: ICZN and ICBN, International Code for Zoological Nomenclature, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. They will discard it. Homonyms are not entertained. But in ICZN, in zoology, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, they will entertain tautonyms. Homonyms are not entertained, but ICZN only entertains tautonyms. But tautonyms are again cannot be entertained through by this ICBN. In botany, tautonyms are also not possible, are also wrong thing. Okay. Now what do you mean by tautonym? Repetition of generic name and specific epithet. Pan, pan. Scientific name of chimpanzee. Gorilla, scientific name of gorilla. Okay. Then naja. Even the subspecies also naja. Naja. So these are examples of again a tautonym. Okay. Now we'll talk about. Okay. So little bit we'll go deeper into this nomenclature. This is Carolus Linnaeus. This is our Linnaeus uncle, Carolus Linnaeus. These are the books. The most famous book, Systema Naturae, not Systema Nature, this Systema Naturae. Philosophica Botanica, Species Plantarum. These are the famous books written by Linnaeus. Okay, so this is what I was telling, that biological names are always written in Latin, and the font, when you are typing, the font should be italic. This is the italic font. Okay, see, every name is written here, they are in italics. Homo sapiens, human, Canis lupus, grey wolf, Felis domesticus, domestic cat, pan, chimpanzee. Next, first word Panthera, tigris, scientific name of tiger. Panthera is the genus, not species. Again, I am telling this is wrong actually. Specific epithet is tigris. Panthera tigris is total species. And Panthera, P start with capital letter, tigris T starts with small letter. Okay. So what we said, that homonyms are not possible. Homonyms are not possible. But see, these two names means homonyms means similar generic name of two different groups. But mango, scientific name is Mangifera indica. For neem plant, neem tree, scientific name is Azadirachta indica. So here indica, specific epithet can be same. Specific epithet can be same, but generic name cannot be same. Okay, we'll get back to this page again. Okay, so the authority, Linnaeus is no more, right? So some authority should be there. So these authorities are called ICBN, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, or ICZN, International Code for International code for zoological nomenclature. International, array, what I am doing? Array, ICBN, ICZN. International code for botanical nomenclature and zoological nomenclature. Now, but do you know that nowadays ICBN is overlapping with International Code of Bacterial Nomenclature or Bacteriological Nomenclature? There is also ICBN. That's why they have changed ICBN as ICNAFP. New name of ICBN, International Code for Nomenclature of Algae, Fungi and Plants. International Code of Nomenclature for Algae, Fungi and Plants. They are the regulatory bodies. Okay. Now we'll talk about how classification is done and what are the different ranks, what is categories, what is taxa or taxons. This is a very important slide. Very important slide. Okay. So first, category. Category means rank of taxonomy which represent a group, and taxon, the real biological entity against a category. This you need to remember. Okay, like a category, kingdom is category, but against kingdom, animalia. If we are taking example of human being, so for human being, while we are classifying, we have to follow these categories. What categories we have to follow? First category we have to follow, that should be kingdom. Second category we have to follow phylum. In case of plant, instead of phylum we use division. Third category we have to follow, that is class. Fourth category we have to follow, that is order. Fifth category family, then genus, then species. These are called definitive categories. There are some intermediate or indefinite or obligatory categories are these are definitive or obligatory category. When you are classifying one organism, you must have to use these categories. Some intermediate categories are there, like below kingdom you can use subkingdom. Generally there is no subkingdom, but subphylum, below phylum you can use subphylum, below class subclass, below order suborder, below family subfamily. Okay, above the class superclass, above order superorder, like that. When you are using at a prefix, then super, when it's suffix, then subclass, superclass, above class, subclass, below the class. So this super and sub, these are called intermediate categories. But kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. King play chase on fine grain sands. King play chase on fine grain sands. These are obligatory or definitive categories. Now categories are having, this kingdom is one category, highest category. Phylum or division is second category, class third category, order fourth category, family fifth category, genus sixth category, species seventh categories. Now there is a arrangement of this category. Kingdom is the highest rank and species is the lowest rank. Okay, now this rank wise arrangement is called hierarchy. This rank wise arrangement is called hierarchy. Okay, and each ranks are called categories, and against each rank, the real biological entity is called taxon. Against kingdom, our taxon, against our category kingdom, our taxon is animalia. Against our category phylum, our human being, our taxon is chordata. Against our category class, our taxon is mammalia. Against our category order, our taxon is primata. Against our category family, our taxon is hominidae. Against our genus, category genus, our taxon is Homo. Against our category species, our species is Homo sapiens. So that is the real difference between taxon and category for human being. With one example, do not confuse between categories and taxons. Taxon, they are the real biological entity. For example, I am making it a bit clear to you. If I ask you address, then I will ask you what is your country. Then I will ask you what is your state. Then I will ask you what is your district, right? So this country, state, district, these are the categories of your address. Country is the highest rank holder, district is the lowest rank holder here, right? So these are called categories. Now what is the actual geographical entity between this country? You will write India. State, you will write either Andhra Pradesh. For me, it's West Bengal. Your district, you will write your own district. Okay. Like here in Andhra Pradesh, the district is Krishna district, right? So this India, Andhra Pradesh, Krishna, these are what? These are taxons. These are taxa. A single one is called taxon. All this together we call it taxon. Okay. So with this example of address, you can understand what category and what taxons are. Okay. Now we will try to understand with some real life examples what actually the classification is, how it happens. So we start with the lowest category species, lowest category species. Now for tiger, what is the taxon against species? Panthera tigris. Panthera tigris. Now one Panthera tigris, who will be the animals whom you will keep under this species Panthera tigris? Animals like this you will keep under Panthera tigris, right? So if you take one male Panthera tigris and a female Panthera tigris and you will leave them together, naturally they will be doing inbreeding and their offspring will be fertile. So what is definition of species? A group of organism with highest level of similarities, who are naturally inbreeding, where they are capable to produce what? Fertile offspring. Next, genus, one step ahead of species. Okay. Now genus means similar or a group of related species. A group of related species are called genus. Okay. Now these three are different species. This is Panthera tigris. This is Panthera leo. This is Panthera pardus. But all are belong to same genus, that is Panthera. They are belonging to the genus Panthera. Though they are different species, though they have different specific epithet, but they have somehow some similarities are there. So we kept them under the same group, that is genus. But this similarity is not the highest level of similarity. Okay, the similarity between two panthers, two lions and two tigers will not be there. But still somehow a very good level of similarities will be there in between these three. Now one step ahead, one upper step, that is family. Cat. What is cat? Felis domesticus. This is of genus This is of genus Felis. Cat belongs to genus Felis. Tiger and panther belong to genus Panthera. Now, when you keep these two genus together, Felis and Panthera, Felis genus and Panthera genus, somehow they will look similar to each other. This cute cat is looking miniature version of this tiger or this panther, right? So similarities are there. So these two genus can be kept under same family, that is Felidae. Same family, that is family Felidae. Similarly, fox, wolf, and dog, they also have similarities. And you can keep these animals from different genus with the same family called family Canidae. Next, now one step ahead of family, order. See, all are wild animals. सारे के सारे जंगली जानवर है, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूं भाई ऑर्डर. What are order? We have kept different families: family Felidae, family Usradidae, family Hyenidae, family Canidae. All these animals together, if you keep under the same group, same umbrella, that will form the order Carnivora, as because they all are flesh eater, they have some level of similarities. So all this family Felidae, family Usradidae, family Hyenidae, family Canidae, they belong to order Carnivora. So what is order? A group of similar families. Okay. Now next, one step ahead of order is class. Okay. Now here we have kept order Carnivora plus order Primata. So all these are carnivores, all these are primates, including human being, gorillas, howler monkeys, chimpanzees, all belongs to order Primata. Now for all the primates and all the carnivores together, they have similar characteristic feature. We all feed upon mother milk, and so our class is Mammalia. Both these two orders. Next, one step ahead. Now if you add the orders, if you add all the classes, like in last slide we had spoken about class Mammalia, right? Now you have to add class Mammalia with class Aves, birds, class Aves with class reptiles, Reptilia, class Reptilia with Amphibia, class Amphibia with Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes. Okay, now all these classes together, though Pisces is not a class, Pisces is the super class. Under the Pisces there are two classes, Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes. With all these organisms will form a phylum is Chordates. A phylum Chordata. The hierarchy is like steps. So one step by first one species, then genus. So step by step we are jumping up and we will be reaching to the kingdom, and more the upper hierarchy, less the similarities. See, different classes together forming phylum Chordates, but the similarities there, they have notochord in some stages of their life. Okay, now if we keep all the chordates with all the non-chordates, then it will form the highest rank, highest category kingdom, right? and the kingdom is the highest rank or highest position of animals. It will form kingdom Animalia. The category kingdom, category of us, all the chordates and non-chordates in the taxon will be Animalia. So this is the classification. Okay, so for some other, according to NCERT, we need to remember there is a chart in NCERT is given. Okay, so this is the biological name of housefly, Musca domestica. Housefly belong to genus Musca, family Mucidae, order Diptera, class Insecta, phylum Arthropoda. Division will be that for plants. Okay, now mango. Mango, scientific name is Mangifera indica. Genus of mango, Mangifera. Family Anacardiaceae. Order Sapindales. Class Dicotyledons. Division Angiospermy. Division Angiospermy. Then wheat. Scientific name is Triticum aestivum. Wheat scientific name is Triticum aestivum. Genus of wheat is Triticum. Family of wheat is Poaceae. Order of wheat is Poales. And class of wheat is Monocotyledons. And division of wheat is Angiospermy. So this thing, for the sake of knowledge or information, you need to remember this slide. Next, the important thing, the last important thing of this chapter is taxonomic aids. Now, if you are a taxonomist, if I am a taxonomist, then while I will doing this classification, identification, nomenclature, all these things, I have to get some tools, some devices, some knowledge base, some database to explore, right? So all these tools, all this knowledge base, you can use even software also nowadays, it's available. All this database together called taxonomic aids, together called taxonomic or taxonomical aids. So what are the taxonomical aids? It can be herbarium. Taxonomical aids means the tools and database. It can be the tools, it can be the data, it can be the knowledge base, it can be the book, it can be anything which is related to it. So it can be herbarium, botanical garden, manuals or catalogs, it can be flora, study all the like a group of all the plants of a particular area is called flora. Group of all the animals of a particular area are called fauna. Keys, analytical tools. Nowadays keys are utilized as software. Okay, you can visit zoological parks like botanical. For plants we visit botanical garden. For animals you can visit zoological parks, and you can visit also museum. You can also see the monographs and all. Now for every tools, every database, we'll see what are they actually. So this is the shortcut form. This is the shortcut form of the taxonomical aids. Taxonomical, first herbarium. Okay, so herbarium is a storehouse of dried, pressed and preserved plant parts on sheets. Okay, so these are non-living, means dead part of plants or full plant. Where it's stored? In the form of sticked with the pages, with the sheets in files. Okay, what is the utilization? For future use, for future reference, you can use this herbariums. Again I am repeating it, storehouse of dried, pressed and preserved plant parts. Herb means plant, right? So it's not about animals. Plant parts where we are preserving this, where you are pasting this on sheets, on paper sheets, and you are ultimately keeping them into files. Okay. Next, botanical gardens. This botanical gardens, now they are the collection of life plants, collection of living plants with proper leveling. If you visit a botanical garden, numerous plants will be there, numerous plants will, live plants will be there, and for every plant there will be some information given on that. It is called leveling, and scientists or botanists use this botanical garden for study purpose, for reference purpose, for research purpose, for identification purpose. Even few of the botanical gardens have seed banks too. They will store, they will have a reserve of seeds. Now museum, what is museum? Museum means we all know that preserved organisms, preserved skeleton, preserved fossils. Okay. Now how to preserve this organism? They are not alive, they are all dead. In formalin you can preserve organisms, 70% formaldehyde solution. So and after some time we need to change the formalin solution and we have to input some fresh formalin. So dead bodies can be preserved in this way. For insect box are prepared as because insects are the body outer part is having armor called chitinous exoskeleton. That's why their internal body part will decay, but not external body part. So you can preserve the insect into insect boxes. Now there can be stuffed animals also. What is stuffed animals? After like if you are taking dead animal like dead tiger, then you have to make the body dry. You have to take out all the visceral organs. Okay, you have to like put some layers of ointments on the skin, and when it will get dry, it will look like a like toy kind of structure. Okay, so that is called stuffed animals. Then skeletons also stored into museum. I'll show. Next, zoological parks. Zoological parks are again, it's like botanical gardens. Here also living animals we are protecting. Ex situ conservation. Zoological parks are ex situ conservation. If you are going for sanctuary or national park, they are the in situ conservation. In situ conservation of animals. In situ means into their wild zone. But while they are taken out of their main like into the from the lap of nature. In situ means where they are situated. Ex situ means where they should not be situated into the nature, as because they are posing some threats. So you have taken out, you have withdrawn from them into the natural zone, and you have kept into caged condition or semi-caged condition into a defined zone, that is called zoological park. So all the animals are kept in captivity, but in the authorities, zoological park authorities try to create like they try to mimic the wild situation into the cages also. Okay, these zoological parks also have some aesthetic value. Means I think there is no one in their lifespan who haven't went to visit a zoological park, right? I mean, even many students also are going to visit zoological park. And lastly, the important thing, key is analytical tool. Key is an analytical tool for like key is a a software or even a manual analytical tool. Basically with the key we compare between different organisms, what percentage of similarities are there. Okay, so for comparing we will use some contrasting characteristics which are there called couplets. Like if you are comparing a plant which is like wheat plant, so if you are comparing between a wheat plant and a rice paddy plant and a mango plant, you will be utilizing key. And the contrasting characteristic feature, either monocotyledonous or dicotyledonous. These two are contrasting characteristic feature. So these two are called couplets. Okay. Now a wheat kind of plant will be monocotyledonous. So by comparing these two couplet, monocotyledon and dicotyledon, you will get the answer. Wheat is a monocotyledonous plant. So that is the lead. Each statement after the comparison between the two couplets, that is called lead. And there are some other means like flora, fauna, different manuals, different catalogs, different monographs. These are also some other tools to study taxonomy. Now let's explore the taxonomical aids in a bit detail. Oh, who can see in the mirror? Whose brother is that? We are talking about taxonomical aids. So these are the procedures or the techniques to store or preserve the information as well as specimen. This is called taxonomical aids. This can be any techniques, this can be any procedure, this can be any knowledge base or database. Okay, this is how herbarium is made up of. See, this is a dried part of fern, dried and pasted with a page, and the other page or the same page you have to label, you have to write all the information. So how herbarium is made up of? First it's dried, first you need to dry it, then you need to press it, okay, then you need to preserve on paste on the sheet, and you have to write the classification of also. You have to write the classification of also. Here classifications are written. What is the kingdom, what is the division, and all the things. And ultimately, if you have to keep the pages into a file, and the files you have to keep into library. Herbarium library for future quick referral. Next, another example of herbarium. While you are labeling the herbarium, you have to write all this information. The date you are collecting it, the place where you are collecting it, who is collecting it, the local name of this plant, botanical name of this plant means biological name, family of this plant, and genus of this plant. So these are the very basic information, you have to label them down. Next, this is the herbarium library. Okay, now how herbarium libraries are made? These files according to the alphabetical order or according to the taxonomical order. Okay, you can arrange them according to the particular chronology. Next, botanical garden. This is beautiful entry of botanical garden that is situated in Howrah. This is the entry gate of that botanical garden. Okay, some botanical gardens, name of some botanical gardens are given here. Botanical garden of Kew, botanical garden of Kew. What's happening? Then Indian Botanical Garden, National Botanical Research Institute in Lucknow. Now this botanical garden at Kew that is present in London. Indian Botanical Garden that is present in West Bengal, Howrah. This is the great banyan tree. This is the great banyan tree, one of the oldest tree of that particular botanical garden. Okay, people are confused which is the actual stem of this tree. This is called the great banyan of botanical garden of Howrah. See some other picture of the botanical garden which is situated in Howrah, India. This museum, where generally you will find this museum into universities, into educational institute. Okay, see here you can see the stoppings of skeleton of a dinosaur, a fossil of a dinosaur, fossil or rather you can say fossilized skeleton of a mammoth, the old elephants. You might have watched that movie Ice Age, right? So in Ice Age you will find these mammoths. Those are prehistoric elephants, all inside the museum. This is the image of Indian Museum in Kolkata. Next, zoological park. Do you know which is the largest zoological park of India, even in Asia? Zoological park of Kolkata is in Alipur Zoo. Some pictures are there of Alipur Zoo. Deer, giraffes, some other organisms are also there. Few birds are there. Lion, panther, tiger, your favorite hippo, your favorite ewe, chimpanzee, elephants, tiger. Now this is what we say it key. It is the key is used for identification of species based on similarities and dissimilarities. These two lines are very much important. Okay, so here through this key they have tried to show how they're comparing British grass, okay, with each other. What percent of similarities are there? So these are different species of British grass, and some criterions they have chosen. Some these bullets are each criterions. Now, whenever there will be similarities, they will fill the blocks. They will fill the blocks. Whenever there will be similarities with each other of any particular criterion, Now, wherever there will be maximum number of filled blocks will be there, you can guess this is the particular plant which with this British grass is showing the closest relationship. So that is how keys are being utilized, but nowadays we use soft keys, software keys. It was like previously they used to use these hard keys. Okay, so this was all about this chapter, the living world, and thank you everyone. Okay, good to go. Bye bye.